Hello, it is Claudia. I am editing. Yeah, I apologize for the weird angle this whole video is in. This one and my next one are both going to be at this really insane, like, weird angle. I'm going to figure something out better for the next one after the next two. But yeah, sorry about the weird angle. Hey guys, what's up? I am back. It is Claudia. Welcome back to my channel and to this lovely self-quarantine time. Yeah, I am here to do my March wrap up. I know it's like halfway through March at this point, but like, not March, it's halfway through April. It's been a lot. But obviously, as everyone knows, life is a lot right now. I am not going to get super into that because we all know what's happening. We're all stressed about what's happening. I don't want to dwell on it any more than I have to, or make y'all dwell on it. So, but yeah, things are still very topsy-turvy in terms of the process of my girlfriend and I moving in. We're still in the lime green room. We will eventually not be in this room. We are making over a like front room for us to live in as a little apartment. So in the meantime, we're stuck with the lime green walls. Y'all are stuck looking at the lime green walls. So sorry. Yeah. But yeah, so this is my March wrap up. I think I am just going to go through the books that I read this month, and then I will do the stats at the end. I read, or at least started 6 books in March. I started 6 books, finished 5. So my goal was 14 books, and I was going to participate in 2 different readathons. I failed at both of them very badly for a variety of reasons. But yeah, let's start from the beginning of the month. The first book that I read was And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. It was my first time reading Agatha Christie, and I really enjoyed it. It's a classic, like, whodunit sort of mystery. People are trapped in a house, someone is killing everyone, they don't know who. That sort of, it gets revealed in the end. Like, it's a fun, I really enjoyed it. I definitely want to check out a lot more Agatha Christie, because it was a super fun time. I did give this one 4 stars, not because I didn't like it, but because of the time period it was written in. There was a lot of like casual racism and like sort of insensitive like comments that made me super uncomfortable and like took me out of the story, which is not necessarily a critique of the book itself. I mean, it is, but it's also a critique of the time period it's in. But I gave it 4 stars. I really did love it. I want to read a lot more Agatha Christie. I am going to hunt down the movie version because I know there is at least 2 movie versions. So I have a quarantine movie list that I am going to hunt that down. Next book I read is barely even a book. It's a collection of John Keats's poetry with cute little illustrations. If you watch my March TBR video, I show it there. I don't have it on me, obviously it's still packed away from moving. It was a cute little 48-page illustrated. I had never read Keats before. I studied poetry before, and I just somehow he never came up. My teachers, I guess, never found him interesting enough to dwell on. It was good. I gave it 4 stars. It's not my favorite style of poetry, but it is very like lyrical poetry. It's not my favorite, but I did enjoy it, and I do recognize that it's good. It's just not my like thing, you know? The third book I read is actually a play. It is Edward Albee's Tiny Alice. Edward Albee is a very strange writer. My girlfriend actually knew him from some other shows that he wrote. Not like knew him personally, but knew of him. And he writes very weird things. It even says in the beginning of the script, there's a note from him being like, people have asked me to provide more clarification for this script, but I feel like it is clear enough, so you don't get any, essentially. And I was like, okay, we're in for a ride. But it's basically the story of a woman named Alice giving money to the church, but also a lot of other people, and it's still very unclear to me. Like, there may be a supernatural element. It's very unclear even after I've read it. Like, I've interpreted it one way. I do want to eventually hunt down a performance of it, but because it's a play, it's hard to hunt down. But yeah, I did enjoy it. I'm still a little confused by it. I gave it 3 stars, partially just because of that lack of clarity. Next book that I started, I have not finished. I checked out the Game of Thrones audiobook for the first book, by George R.R. Martin, obviously. I checked that out from the library on my phone as an audiobook right before we moved, and we intended to listen to the whole thing on the ride down, but the drive down from Idaho to Louisiana was a lot, and we did an overnight stint, and like, it just was not gonna happen. So I did start that. I have not made it far. I am enjoying it. It returned itself because it was an audiobook from the library. It returned itself, and so I am on hold to get it back. But so hopefully I will be able to finish that just on my own. It's good. I enjoy the audiobook a lot more than I enjoyed the show. I did not watch Game of Thrones, at least not all of it. I've seen the first 3.5 seasons, and then I just lost interest. So I am enjoying it a lot more. It's funnier than I expected it to be. I did not expect it to be funny, because the show's not particularly funny. It's serious, and George R.R. Martin does put a lot of stress on how young all of the kids are, because they are babies. I did not realize they were meant to be 15. Like Jon Snow's 14. I'm that's a baby, you know. The next book I read was The Guinevere Deception by Kiersten White. I read this it was the Mythic book of 2 months. They do it's a book club. Y'all know this. Y'all have heard of them, obviously. They did pick The Guinevere Deception for February, March. I read it in March. By Kiersten White. It is a King Arthur retelling, which I am not familiar with King Arthur at all. My full knowledge of King Arthur comes vaguely from Monty Python, but I also haven't watched Monty Python in years, so that's my vague knowledge. But it is basically a King Arthur retelling where Guinevere is not Guinevere. She is essentially a changeling. She's Merlin's daughter. Maybe. I have doubts on that, but she thinks she is Merlin's daughter who has been sent to replace the real Guinevere who died, and protect Arthur. And then a lot of things get revealed. It's a very good book. I enjoyed it. It is very slow, and it very much feels like a setup book. It feels oh, this is going to set up a series, which it is. It is. There's at least one more book that I know is coming out later this year. And it's good. It feels like a setup, you know? It feels oh, here's the characters. Let's introduce the world, and but that's it, really? It was good. And I gave it 4 stars. But it definitely has its flaws but it is an intriguing setup. And especially, so I know nothing about King Arthur's Legends, but I was listening to the Hairspray, not the Broadway cast recording, but the movie cast recording. And in It Takes Two, there's a small little mention that implies some things that make me a little excited and a little hopeful, in terms of the romance. I'm not going to say more than that. If you have read the book and want to listen to that song, go for it. But it makes me really hopeful, because it implies that 2 characters that I really enjoy might get together, but in future books. I don't know how much the people who wrote the music for Hairspray know about Arthurian legend, but you know, it's still a cute thing. The final book I read this month was A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. I know it is trash. I knew that going into it. But when I like trash, I didn't expect it to be bad trash. And it was bad trash. It felt like bad, half-baked fan fiction of it felt like it was not willing to commit to having a plot. There was no plot. It was just oh, it's Christmas, or solstice, or whatever the fuck. But it was just oh, it's the holidays. It's the holidays, and we're all bonding, and it's there wasn't a plot. Not to say there has to be a big serious plot, but there could have at least been a little you know, something. something. It was not good. It was bad. It kept switching between different point of views, which is not inherently bad, but also, like, I didn't like most of them. Like, yeah, it felt unnecessary. I don't understand why it exists. I gave it 2 stars. Cause, like, it wasn't downright, like, painful, but, like, it was not good. Okay, so onto stats. So my total pages that I read this month was 1,830. I am counting all of the pages for Game of Thrones. Even though I did not read the whole thing, I'm counting the whole book, partially because I want to. It's really just because I want to. I read, or at least started, a total of 6 books out of my goal of 14 books. My average rating across those books was 3.6 stars, which is not the worst, but not the best. My favorite book I read this month was And Then There Were None. My least favorite was A Court of Frost and Starlight. In terms of genre, I read 1 mystery book, 1 poetry book, 1 play, and 3 fantasies. I participated in 2 readathons. The Backlist readathon, I read 2 out of the 6 books that I intended to read. And the Spring Into Reading-a-thon, I read 2 out of the 4 books I intended to read for that. One of those books was the group book, If I'm Being Honest, that I could not get to because the plague happened and also I was moving. But yeah, and the only series that I started was A Song of Ice and Fire, and then I guess technically Guinevere Deception will have a sequel. But yeah, those are the books that I read in March. I have already uploaded my April TBR. Y'all should check that out, and I'm planned out quite a few videos over the next few weeks, as I am not working, obviously. Starbucks cannot have us work from home, and because the people around me are very susceptible to illness, I am not working, just for their own peace of mind. And for my girlfriend's peace of mind, she was really stressed about me getting sick, but it's fine. We're all doing fine. I am going to upload videos more often, at least for the time period in which I am not working. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am going to try to be more active on both of those. And subscribe here. Let me know what you think. Let me know your thoughts. If you have any Agatha Christie recommendations, I don't really know where to hop in. Murder on the Orient Express is one I've heard thrown around, like, just as a title, but I want to know what y'all think. But yeah, any recommendations for Agatha Christie books or anything else, really, honestly. And or if y'all just want to let me know, how are y'all doing surviving all of this? What's getting y'all through? I know it's a tough time right now, and it's very hard on all of us, but we're gonna make it through, and things are gonna be okay. And I will see you guys later. Bye.